guess what? You're getting me in morning mode. I have not washed or showered yet, and it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, but I really needed a long sleep, so that's how you get me today. Maybe I should take these off. Maybe I shouldn't. So this is how I woke up, unfiltered. Oh my god, this hair. I knew this would happen at some point. I knew, and this is partly why I was doing this challenge as well. I knew that I would have moments where I was like, I just need to go and talk about this now. This is what's coming up for me today. So this is what I'm going to do my video on to share, and it would be, and I, I'm kind of challenging myself to show up to you. However, that is as well, and that's how this is this morning, looking like this. So, I was kind of inspired to talk today about this whole my truth thing. What is my truth? You've probably heard the term, people say, I want to live my truth, or I need to speak my truth, or I'm not living my truth, or I need to be able to speak my truth. And I was inspired by this because a friend and a client of mine, she's had, just for full disclosure again, she's had one call with me. We did like an empowerment session call that I offered her. Caitlin, she's beautiful. Check her out. You can find her on Instagram at A Series of Sundays. Caitlin, yes, it's A Series of Sundays, it's not her name. So she tagged me in some stories on her Instagram yesterday about the fact that I'm doing this daily share thing, and said in those she is speaking her truth. And my kind of tagline for my business is, God, how bad is that? And I was like, it's this, and then I went to forget. It's a life coach specialising in empowering others to live their truth. So it is a very, it really resonates for me, that term, and it's very important to me. Bear with me, because I have only been up for like an hour or so, and I'm still drinking my morning coffee, which is decaf, because I can't handle caffeine after an adrenal crash. Something I'll talk about another day. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to tell people what this means to me, what my truth means to me. And we're going to start to open up here a little bit of the story of my history and my past. And I'm sure it will lead on to a lot more into this every day that I come and share. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and in that religion, is a religion, it's a very cult-like religion. So there are aspects of it that what's the word that I want? It's just very cult-like ways of working. There's this is the truth, this is what's right. Don't free think, don't independent think, it's dangerous for you. Don't go outside and think about it, and don't question it. And if you do question within. Yeah. So I was raised in that, and that religion calls itself the truth. I have said my whole life, well, I did say my whole life up until I was 26. I'm so happy I have the truth. I'm in the truth. The truth this. What do you feel about the truth? I think this about the truth. I'm so lucky that I have the truth. I'm so privileged to have the truth. And these are the kind of sayings that show the cult basis, because it's mind control. It's reaffirming. You're reaffirming yourself and your beliefs, and that's a very powerful thing to do within religions. I will mention at the end of this video that I have a group specifically for helping people through these troubles, and I would really like you, if you resonate with it, or if you know anyone that will, to share that with them, because it's a special space, but I'll talk about that at the end. So yeah, I was used to talking about my truth, the truth. Oh, the truth is wonderful, it's glorious. We all fill each other up on how we're so lucky to have the truth. I'm going to not go down a bashing route, because that's not what I'm about, but that was my experience, and I don't refer to it as that anymore. And actually what happened was, through leaving that religion at 25, 26, I was almost 26, so I always say 26, and finding how life could work outside of it, and what life could be outside of it, and what was right for me, because essentially I got to the point, I'll talk about this more as we go along these days, but I got to the point where I was like, this belief system, the way this works, this isn't right for me. And I didn't fully understand at the time why, or what my life was going to be afterwards, or how I was going to survive, but I just knew it wasn't right. And so I started along this journey about living my truth. And to come back to the original point about what I wanted to talk about today, your truth is basically whatever is absolutely true for you and right for you. And it's so important, because so many people grow up in a world, whether it's religious or cultural, whatever it is, so many people grow up in a world with their own conditioning, own different types of conditioning. We're all conditioned by the worlds that we grow up in to a degree. And that becomes all we know. And so that feeds into that's just our perception of the world. We can only ever know our own perception of the world. And that, if it happens to be somewhere that's not right for you, is a really isolating place to be in. And as humans, we're not meant to be isolated. We thrive and live off of connection. We are formed from love. We are meant to be love. And everything about us at our core is love. It's just the way we are. And, we are meant to connect with other humans and be in a social, sort of pack society. That's why society has so many rules that it does, because they keep us connected. It's why we all abide by the laws, because we're not hurting each other and we're keeping each other safe and looking after each other, and there's a whole big thing out there to do with it. So, we are not meant to be isolated, was originally what I was saying. And then if you grow up in this environment that isn't meant for you, that's going to be incredibly isolating. And what that will result in is feelings of confusion, of unhappiness, potentially depression, anxiety, all things that I went through. I really do believe that my depression was as a result of, when I came out of it, I truly believe that I was depressed because I was not living the way that my soul was meant to live. So it is vital to be living what is true for you. So if you're brought up in this world that isn't right for you, it's going to lead to a shitload of stuff that's going to make you feel really awful. But what you will still do is think, I should be feeling okay. Instead of saying what likely happens, instead of saying, this isn't right for me and I'm going to go and find out what is, we accept it as what is right, and then layer all of this stuff on ourselves, that we're the problem and we're wrong and we must be broken, and why am I confused, and why don't I get that, and why don't I speak to that, and why doesn't that make sense to me, and why aren't I passionate about that, and why didn't I enjoy this thing like all the other people around me enjoy it. And we put it all on ourselves. There's a saying that I really like, which is, I'm going to paraphrase it, and I don't actually know who the quote is by, so I apologise, but feel free to put it in the comments, that says, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment the flower's growing in, not the flower. It's not the flower that's broken, you're the flower in this case. So you are not broken when what should be your truth, because it's all you know right now, is not actually your truth. Does that help explain this expression a bit more? So then you get to go and find what is your truth. And that is so important, because you are only ever going to experience life from your perspective. So you need to find, essentially, with that being said, what you see in life is what's always going to be true for you. So you need to find what's true for you and what feels right, basically, from your perspective, because that's the only way that's all you're ever going to experience. So go and find what's right for you. That's what I mean by live your truth. That come away, if something doesn't feel right, if it's uncomfortable or confusing, and you don't feel like you fit and you're a bit lost and overwhelmed in that, you just need to find what's the right truth for you. And that's exactly what I did. That being said, before I go, I wanted to say that I have a group. It's called A Place to Be. It's on Facebook, and it is specifically for people who have grown up in strong religious systems or cultures where they do not feel that they belong, and where they're confused and lost and feeling isolated and probably overwhelmed and desperately low and sad like I was. So I've created that space. If you resonate with those feelings and you don't have a religious background, you're still welcome to come in. There are 3 questions, answer them, and I'll let you in. So find that, comment below if you want more info.